Welcome back to another episode of Sports Den Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Hooker here, and today's episode will be my Week 6 predictions. This week, there will be a lot of questions that need to be answered from a certain amount of teams, and we'll have those questions ready when we get to these matchups. But before we start, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and come join the den. For our first matchup, Maryland versus Ohio State, this will show me if Maryland is serious because they had Tua's little brother, Tagovailoa, as a quarterback for the last couple of years, and he's been electrifying this year, to say the least, and he has been showing up in his offense. So I want to see how he can go against this improved Ohio State defense. And I know that Ohio State with Kyle McCord at quarterback, there have been a couple of rough patches for the past couple of games. I want to see if he can really distribute the ball against a quality opponent like the Terrapins of Maryland. And I want to see how this game will go because I know this game will be a shootout. I know if it's a shootout, I know that it will be a 10-point game at the end of the day. So I'll say a 48-38 win for Ohio State will be more likely than anything. And I know that Maryland will have their best game plan put on display against the Buckeyes. And I know that it'll be a rocking stadium. The next game, LSU versus Missouri. I think that LSU is the best two-loss team so far this year, losing a nail-biter against Ole Miss and then being dominated by Florida State earlier this year. I think that LSU has to answer this question: what do you guys want out of this season? Because this week will determine will the guys from LSU come out flat, or will the guys ramp up the intensity to make sure they still have a season to look forward to, or still have something to look forward to. Because Alabama's coming in the next couple of weeks. And if you guys are looking like lackadaisical against a Missouri team who is very underrated, I think that if you guys come out flat, I know for sure you guys can't just turn it on and turn it back on. Turn it off, turn it back on against a Bama team who has improved week in and week out since Jalen Milroe has been officially named the starter. So I want to see that. I want to see that from LSU. And for Missouri, you guys already have one ranked win against Kansas State. I want to see you guys against more of a talented team like at LSU. I want to see how Brady Cook fares against this defense. I want to see how Luther Burden does when all the attention is on him with the formidable SEC opponent like the LSU Tigers. But I think that I'm going to take the upset. I'm going to take the Missouri Tigers to win this game because I feel like the Brady and Burden connection will play its part into the win. And I think that LSU just comes out too lax, and I think they try to play catch up, and it won't be enough at the end. So give me the Missouri Tigers. The next game, Washington State at UCLA. I think Vegas has UCLA win this game, and I don't know why, but give me Cam Ward. Cam Ward, he's one of the better quarterback prospects in the nation. I think that if you sit here and look at Washington State, you can say Washington State can compete with anybody on their schedule. I think that they have to be consistent because I've seen at times they can go do this, go do that, but then they can look a little shaky at times and during their possessions throughout their games. And you're like, all right, can we really trust them against the USCs, against the Utahs, against the Oregon States, against the Oregons? So now Washington State, it's time to go on your run. It's time to go on your run, and it starts right now. UCLA, on the other hand, UCLA is going to be a little down year. We're having Dante Moore as your quarterback. You had to figure out some things between him and Ethan Grabbers. I think that UCLA, if you guys can just find a way to slow down the explosive Washington State offense, I think that it'll do you justice. But overall, I think Washington State easily takes care of the Bruins, and I think that Washington State wins by 17 plus points. The next game, it will be Alabama at Texas A&M. I feel like this is a trap game for Bama because Texas A&M has already seen the Jalen Milroe experiment last year. They seen what Jalen Milroe could do. They already know what has he improved on from last year. They already have a game plan. Now they can tinker that game plan to make sure it can work because Texas A&M offense last year was not comparable to the one they have this year. So what I'm saying is Texas A&M will win this ball game because of I trust Texas A&M offense to score more than 20 points than what they did last year. And I think that Kyle Field will play a role to the mental mistakes that Bama will make. Because Bama on the road, they're guaranteed to have at least 3 false starts. I know that Kyle Field will at least cause at least 2 more because of that. And I know that penalties will play a huge factor because Alabama at times has been undisciplined. And I'm going to take Texas A&M because of that. So give me Texas A&M to win. The next game, Kentucky versus Georgia. This game will have a lot of eyes because Georgia's performance of last week's against Auburn. I think that Kentucky's Ray Davis will have the national media eyes because it will be like, all right, you did that against Florida. Can you do that against the number 1 team in the nation, the back-to-back national champion? I think that Ray Davis will have a good day, but I don't think it'll be a day where he can carry the load to win the ball game. I think that Devin Leary has to make throws. I think Devin Leary has to make those timely decisions to where those decisions, whether win the ball game or lose the ball game against Kentucky. I think that Georgia will put in a game plan to where, hey, the national media has been talking. Everyone's down on us right now, so let's go show the world why we're number 1 still to everyone else's eyes. So give me Georgia for that reason. I think that Sanford Stadium will be rocking for a night game. I think that this will be one of the better games Georgia has played this year. The primetime matchup, Texas versus Oklahoma. You have Xavier Worthy, you have A.D. Mitchell, you have Quinn Ewers. That's a lot of star power for Texas, and it's in Dallas. So what I'm saying is that Texas. Oklahoma has playmakers on defense. Oklahoma has the defense that Brent Venables has been wanting since day one. I'm letting you know now that this will be arguably the toughest game you will play this year so far because of the familiarity, because it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen in rivalry games. And I think that the Steve Sarkisian and Brent Venables matchup would be a huge factor. And with that being said, I trust Brent Venable more. I trust Brent Venable more to pull out this W. And I think that Oklahoma will win this game. I think they'll win by 6 points. 30. Nah, I say by 4, a 38-34 matchup, and I think that Oklahoma will win. I think that Oklahoma's defense will get more stops than Texas' defense, and I think that the Sooners will walk away winning. And I think that it'll be a rough it'll be rough for Texas to get back because they don't play any more quality opponents. But I can say they can get a revenge back in a bid to a championship if both teams can sustain their success after this game. So, with that being said, that's the end of this episode. I'm your host, Jonathan Hooker, signing out. See you guys in the next one. Peace.